The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the City of Neenah Common Council for Wednesday, January 17th, 2024. Thank you for joining us this evening. We will start with the roll call. The clerk will call the roll, and please indicate your presence on your roll call device.
Alderman Boyette.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Hillstrom.
Here.
Lendrum.
Here.
Steiner.
Here.
Stevenson.
Here.
Skirms.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
And Borchert.
Here.
Thank you. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Council President Borchert.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda this evening is a presentation by the Neenah Police Department for Citizen Life-Saving Award to Annalisa Turnez, honored for heroic actions in saving the life of a gentleman who collapsed at a local grocery store. So I'll call them forward.
Good evening, Council, citizens of Neenah. Just want to kind of go over a brief incident what happened earlier, or actually back in September. A little after that, we were preparing for our awards ceremony, which took place recently, and one of the committee representatives approached the committee, Sergeant Rob Ross, with a unique award nomination. Typically, we do not nominate citizens for award. It's only employees of the police department, but Rob did some research and realized that there was an exceptional incident that happened on September 7th of 2023 that's basically noteworthy, and he wanted this individual to be recognized. Hence, we're here today. On September 7th, 2003, Thomas, who's seated back here in the black suit, just played in a great round of golf, and he had this craving of grapes. So he went to Aldi's located on Green Bay Road to get those grapes. And while standing in line, he had his cart, and Annalisa, who's a registered nurse and a CPR instructor, was standing behind him. She noticed that Thomas was going into distress, and as she was going to talk to him, he collapsed. At that time, she immediately checked for a pulse and did not locate one. She called 911 and began life-saving measures, CPR. She continued to perform these life-saving measures until EMS arrived. Thomas' major cardiac incident was due to a significant blockage. Sergeant Ross did some research, and he went to the emergency room where he verified with the ER staff that Annalisa's immediate life-saving measures during the critical first moments of the incident basically saved Thomas's life. So this is a true example of a professional and an amazing member of the City of Neenah, Annalisa. Chief Olson's presenting her with a certificate for a life-saving award along with a department coin, and Sergeant Ross is presenting her with a bag of department goodies.
Thank you very much.
Moral of the story is when you crave grapes, go get them. Registered nurse behind you at all times.
Thank you so much, Annalisa, and for your heroic efforts. You are what epitomizes our community and being brave enough to help a fellow citizen. So thank you so much for that. And Thomas, we're really glad you're here. The next item on the agenda is the introduction and confirmation of the mayor's appointments and the appointing of Lucius Philo Kloxine as a student representative to the Neenah Arts Council for a 3-year term ending in 2027. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of that appointment? Seeing none, that is so ordered, and the clerk will be swearing that individual in. Thank you all for coming.
I, Lucius Philo-Coxine, having been appointed to the Neenah Arts Council for the city of Neenah, Winnebago County, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin. I will faithfully discharge the duties of a member of the Neenah Arts Council to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Lucius, and thank you for being willing to join the Arts Council. We really appreciate your service. At this time, I'd like to also take the opportunity to introduce our new Neenah Menasha Fire Rescue Fire Chief, Chief Travis Tesh. If you would like to come forward and just introduce yourself, we would appreciate that.
Council members, Your Honor, thank you for having me here tonight. Some of you I've already had the pleasure of meeting. Some of you I look forward to get to meeting real soon, and I'm grateful to be here and look forward to working with each and every one of you and getting to know you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Travis. We're so happy that you've joined our team. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the council proceedings. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of approval of those council proceedings from December 20th, 2023? Any objection? Seeing none, those council proceedings are approved. The next item on the agenda is the public forum. This is the opportunity for anyone from the public to speak on any topic of pertinence to the council. Please give your name and residential address, and you're allowed 5 minutes to speak on any topic. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in the public forum? Please come forward.
Hello, Council. My name is Eric Haywood. I live at 223 Bosworth Lane in Neenah. I'm running for Judge in Winnebago County, Branch 1, with the endorsement of the retiring Branch 1 Judge, Judge Basilier. It's nice to meet some of you. It's nice to see some of those of you who've known me all the way back to my school days. I grew up here in Neenah, graduated from Neenah High School. I was a founding member and captain of the lacrosse team, taught Suzuki violin here at the schools, and worked as a mechanic at Gearing Up Bike Shop. My wife and I are raising our 2 daughters here because we know it's the perfect place to raise a family. Before law school, I worked for Habitat for Humanity as an AmeriCorps, which inspired my career goals. My whole career as an attorney has been dedicated to public service, first as a prosecutor and then public defender, now as the Judicial Court Commissioner. That's a role where I was chosen by the 6 judges to make safety decisions in several types of cases, including felony, mental health, child welfare cases. I'm running for judge to make sure Winnebago County and Neenah stay a safe and stable place to raise a family. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'll stick around after the meeting to talk with anyone. Thank you. Oh, and I'd ask for your vote on February 20th. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public forum? Anyone else? Seeing no one, I will close the public forum. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Approval of the preliminary plat for the 3rd addition to the Homes at Freedom Meadow subdivision, subject to the conditions on the preliminary plat review letter. Is there any objection to unanimous consent? Seeing no objection, that is approved. The next item on the agenda is reports of standing committees, the Special Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of January 17th. Just this evening, Chairman Lendrum.
Thank you, Mayor. As the mayor said, we met as a Special Public Services and Safety Committee meeting just before council. And there are no minutes from the last meeting because that was canceled. So we have 3 items. Item number 1, consideration of committee recommendation regarding awarding a contract for demolition and site clearance of 1345 South Commercial Street to Go Green Recycling LLC in the amount not to exceed $23,800 and funded by the Community Development Block Grant Program, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum.
I guess I can't push a, looks like we're having some problems with
Okay.
our, yeah,
So we'll just record it.
I can't, okay.
There's a
Thank you.
motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion? Alderman Boyette.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if this is working. Director Hayes, I just have one question. I understand the why of this because obviously we want someone to develop it and it's more appealing when they don't have to pay to tear it down. My question is, some time ago we had a plan for that south corridor. Is this part of that plan? And if so, where are we at with that plan?
So I would say yes. We continue. We have this will be probably the 3rd property acquisition that's there. We continue to market these sites. This one in particular is of interest as the car wash immediately to the north is closed. We have had conversations with that owner. We've had conversations with the owner to the west. They all have some interest in doing something different, so we have a sizable, relatively sizable piece of property that's probably a little more attractive than the other 2 we currently have. So we continue to market those. I fully expect with the street reconstruction in 2025 that street will see more interest in terms of redevelopment. So we continue to work on it.
And about the plan for South Commercial, where are we at with that?
So the plan is done. I mean, that's came forward a year and a half ago, I believe.
I thought there was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So that's in place and been on in the plan that we are working with, if you will.
I guess I misunderstood because I thought we had an ongoing developmental plan for that southern corridor in stages so I'm just curious where we're at with that.
Well,
Unless I'm mistaken.
The implementation is what we're in, but it does take time, and part of it is trying to find private sector investors that are willing to put funds into the corridor.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
Okay, thanks.
Mayor, I can't push my request to speak
Okay,
button.
I'll
so
try to make sure I'm looking in both
This
directions.
is my request to speak.
Okay.
I just want to tell people that the 1345 South Commercial Street is the awning building, the awning sewing building, and there's as you're facing west, the blue car wash is on the right on Bird Street, and to the south is the other car wash. I can't remember the name of it, so I just wanted to let everyone know where it was.
Thank you. Are there any further questions on this item? How would we conduct our vote?
Can you vote?
Voice vote or roll call vote?
Because yours looks better than mine.
Are we able to?
Mine's really bad.
We'll just take a moment to determine how we'll be conducting our vote.
On his.
Are you guys, things working?
I request I can.
Mine's working.
Okay,
Mine's good.
okay. Alderman Stevenson?
I was just testing my system.
Just checking if you're checking.
Check.
Okay. Okay. All right, seeing that our roll call devices are working now, please cast your vote for recommendation regarding the awarding of a contract for demolition and site clearance of 1345 South Commercial Street to Go Green Recycling. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 2, consideration of committee recommendation regarding approving amended resolution 2023-33 sanitary sewer lateral and water service construction on Bayview Road, Belmont Avenue, Belmont Court, Cedar Street, East Doty Avenue, North Street, Quarry Lane, Stevens Street, and South Park Avenue, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Is there any discussion on this item? Any questions? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device for recommendation approving amended resolution 2023-33. That motion passes 9-0.
And our third and last item, consideration of committee recommendation regarding purchasing 5 accessible pedestrian signal systems for the intersections outlined in Traffic Engineer Merton's memo dated January 11th, 2024, for a total not to exceed $38,500, with $32,000 being funded by Community Development Block Grant Program and $6,500 being funded by the South Park Industrial Center upgrade budget, and I would so move. And as soon as we get a second, I would like Engineer Merton to come up and just do a super quick synopsis of this.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Stevenson.
All right. Hopefully you can hear me. Maybe not. Well, these are for the audible push buttons. We've recently installed 2 systems on Bell Street, on the Bell Street corridor, because we had a specific request. These systems allow people to, if you're blind, they provide audible tones to help give guidance as to how to cross the street at signalized intersections. And we had a request for the 2 that we installed on the Bell Street corridor. So with this, with the block grant funding, we felt it prudent to expand these units to other intersections, particularly those that are pedestrian or see more pedestrian use. So you'll see the majority of the intersections are kind of in and around the downtown area. I guess if you have any questions with how they use, another thing that I didn't mention before is that there are, you can access basically pressing the push button using an app on your phone or other device. So that does allow other people with other disabilities to interact with intersections as well. So that's another feature that these units provide. So I guess if you have any questions, that'd be.
Can you name off the 4 intersections? I can if you
Sure.
don't.
So the 4 intersections are Wisconsin and Commercial, which currently doesn't have any push buttons. This is for the audible tones, but they will have push button features. Wisconsin and Church, Wisconsin and Oak, and Commercial and Forest. And then there's the fifth one is the industrial park, one being funded through the industrial park budget, which is at Industrial and Bell Street.
Yeah. Thank you.
Alderman Boyette.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. James, I just have a quick question. You said that folks will be able to use an app on their phone to access this. How will the public know about this app? And then is that, like, will that happen just with these new ones? Or is that something new that, talk to me a little bit more about that.
Well, I would imagine if you are someone who's in a position where that would be useful, I would hope that that this gets communicated to them. When if it's something that happens suddenly, or maybe when they're through youth or whatever their situation is. The one thing I was thinking I would do is provide that information on our city website. It's not currently, but it was at some point when I get the chance, I would like to add that to the website. So that would be one area, and certainly anytime anybody mentions or if there's any ADA related requests, we can certainly communicate to the individuals at that time.
I guess I'm just curious if, like, perhaps some small signage on the ones that have the capability.
We could look into that.
I mean, I know our signs don't cost, there's a cost for everything, but I know that's a minimal cost.
Yeah,
So-
signs, no, that's certainly something we could look into. I would probably, I can reach out to the vendor too, because I feel like if there is such a thing, they probably have something pre-made that I would assume is not
Sure.
expensive, that we could maybe add on to, where it says QR code, whatever, something like that.
And then this is just for these new ones, so this app then wouldn't be for the older ones, or the technology isn't on the older ones?
Yeah, so these units are much larger than an ordinary push button that we would use. So yes, this would be only for the intersections where we have these units. Menasha has 2 intersections, I believe, that have the same brand. So it would, if you had that app, it's the same there as it is here.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Are there any additional questions? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-1.
And that's the end of my report. And the next item is for the last meeting, which was canceled.
Thank you. Item C, Special Finance and Personnel Committee meeting, also of this evening, January 17th. Chairman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from the Special Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of January 17th, 2024. Item number 1, consideration of committee recommendation to expend up to $72,875 to purchase $33,500 and implement $39,375,000 of a new tax system. Ascent Land Records Software Suite from Transcendent Technologies of Neenah, with the funding coming from Information Systems ERP Suite account within the capital equipment budget, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Erickson.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Skirms. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Stevenson.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Can someone enlighten us with what the remaining fund balance is in the ERP suite account? That's got to be pretty significant, I think.
I believe, and I can confirm this and email you tomorrow, but I believe after this expenditure, we're looking at somewhere around 35 to 40,000.
Could we confirm that? Please, thank you.
Definitely, we'll send an
And
email
just send
tomorrow.
them. Thank you.
bet.
Are there any additional questions? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
And that concludes my report from the special Finance and Personnel Committee meeting.
Next item on the agenda is the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of January 8th. Chairman Erickson.
Thank you. From reporting up from the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of January 8th, 2024. Item number 1, the committee recommends council approve the 2024 intermunicipal agreement with the City of Appleton for dial-a-ride cost sharing, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Erickson, seconded by Alderman Steiner. Is there any discussion on this item? Any questions? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device for approval of the 2024 intermunicipal agreement with the City of Appleton for dial-a-ride cost sharing. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 2, the committee recommends council approve the first addition to Freedom Acres Subdivision Development Agreement. Action will be taken under the Board of Public Works report. And item number 3, the committee recommends council approve ordinance 2024-01, annexation 231 to be approved, and the petition for annexation of 10.12 acres of land located west of Wooden Shoe Road be accepted. And action for this will be taken under the Plan Commission report. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. The next item on the agenda is the regular Plan Commission meeting of January 9th, 2024. Council Representative Steiner.
Thank you, Mayor. Minutes can be found on the city website. Commission recommends council approve ordinance number 2024-01, annexation 231, and the property receive an R1 single-family residence district zoning classification, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Boyette for approval of ordinance 2024-01. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
That concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. The next item on the agenda is the Board of Public Works meeting of January 9th. Vice Chairman Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. The minutes can be found on the city website from this meeting. This evening, there are 3 information-only items and 5 council action items, so hang in there. Item A, the board approved pay request number 6, contract 1-23, sanitary sewer, water main, and street construction, Burr Avenue, Chestnut Street, Decoff Street, and Lone Boulevard to Don E. Parker Excavating Incorporated in the amount of $224,260.58. Item B, the board approved change order number 1, contract 10-23 for stone, fill, and compacting oil tank, oil hole in City Hall parking lot to Northeast Asphalt Incorporated in the amount of $2,915. Item C, the board approved change order number 2, contract 10-23 for an extra 2,124.90 square feet of hot mix asphalt for driveways in Freedom Acres and homes at Freedom Meadows to Northeast Asphalt Incorporated in the amount of $7,437.15. Now for the council action items. First one is board recommends council approve development and fee agreement for the first edition of Freedom Acres subdivision, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Hillstrom, seconded by Alderman Boyette. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote for approval of the development and fee agreement for the first addition to Freedom Acres subdivision. That motion passes 9-0.
Item B, final pay request, contract 3-23, concrete pavement and sidewalk repair to L. Dix Concrete in the amount of $275,745.67, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Hillstrom, seconded by Council President Borchert. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote for the final pay request, contract 323. That motion passes 9-0.
Item C, the board recommends council approve final pay request, contract 6-23, sanitary and storm sewer, water main and street construction, Columbian Avenue to Don Hippis and Sons Incorporated in the amount of $91,557.29, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Hillstrom, seconded by Alderman Lundrum. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device for final approval of pay request contract 623. That motion passes 9-0.
Item D, the board recommends council approve final pay request, contract 10-23, parking lot resurface at Marketplace and City Hall, 2-inch asphalt mat overlay in Freedom Acres and homes at Freedom Meadows and library bump out to Northeast Asphalt Incorporated in the amount of $25,343.10, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Hillstrom, seconded by Alderman Lundrum. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote for approval of the final pay request for contract 1023. That motion passes 9-0.
And the last item this evening, the board recommends council approve final pay request, contract 9-23, epoxy pavement marking to Century Fence Incorporated in the amount of $63,720.37, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Hillstrom, seconded by Alderman Lundrum. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device for final pay request for contract 923. That motion passes 9-0.
That's all I have this evening, Mayor.
That was a whole lot, so thank you very much for your report. The next item on the agenda is reports of neighborhood groups, the Business Improvement District Board, Alderman Skirms.
Thank you, Mayor. The board met yesterday morning here in council chambers. The minutes will be available on the city website. Two main areas of discussion yesterday. One was snow removal, which is always a topic of conversation this time of year. Pretty much the focus was on accolades to Public Works for the fine job they did with a pretty nasty storm. Second was discussion of lighting in the downtown on a sort of global idea of looking down the road for as the downtown plan gets implemented, architectural lighting, how does that fit in with trees? How are we going to light the trees? The strands in the trees we have were a challenge this year since we lost 3 of our larger trees downtown. We have some electrical issues that outlets aren't working in certain blocks, like from Lady Liberty to Chase, none of those lights worked. So there's going to be a special group working on lighting in the downtown and what that may look like. So that is forming now. Additions to the neighborhood, Bellwether, which has been in Marketplace up on the 2nd floor, they're opening a new space in Marketplace on the back side, along with Saltbox, the lighting company out of De Pere, and they should be open this week, I believe. Also, there's new owner of Hong Kong Buffet, if I haven't mentioned that before. Kevin and Jenny retired after, this is hard to believe, they had this restaurant for over 20 years, and up until COVID, they were open every day of the year.
Oh, my goodness.
So they certainly deserve their their retirement. And so if you're in there, you see a gentleman in the front. His name is Alan. Welcoming him to town. He moved his family up here just recently from Chicago area. So, oh, and Warm Your Hearts is coming up February 10th. Another sellout event put on by Future Neenah in the bid. So you'll see folks walking around with their mugs of warm goodness on that day. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. One item I remember from that meeting that I thought was remarkable was the fact that the cookie crawl sold out in 40 minutes. So if you want to go to the cookie crawl next year, be aware. The next item on the agenda is the Library Board. Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from the Neenah Public Library Board of Trustees. Mayor, I can beat you on that one. The February speed puzzling tournament, the registration went in 3 minutes. So there is a wait list, but that is full. But it went live last Sunday, and in 3 minutes, all of the spots were taken. And I'd also like to highlight another event that I mentioned at our last council meeting, the Swifty event that took place on December 30th. There were 511 total people in attendance at that event. So it was held in the downstairs, not the downstairs, the first floor of the library, and it was a huge success. So that concludes my report from the Neenah Public Library, and remember to check out some books.
Thank you for your report. Alderman Skirms?
Tammy, how many teams signed up for the puzzling?
I don't know about this upcoming tournament. I think the last tournament, it was between 45 and 50 teams. So
And they're 3-person teams, is that right?
Person teams.
That's great. Love it. Thank you.
That's fantastic. The next item on the agenda, the Neenah Arts Council, also Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to mention that the Neenah Arts Council met last Wednesday at 4 o'clock in the council chambers. We discussed the Neenah Arts Council photo contest that will be held. Submissions will be accepted March 1st through March 31st. And the exhibit will take place at the Neenah Public Library. The themes this year are hometown pride, mood and emotion, and creatively enhanced photos. So if you're a photographer and are interested, please check out the Neenah Public Library website. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. The next item is the Landmarks Commission. Is there a report, Alderman Weber?
There is, Mayor, thank you. The Landmarks Commission did meet on January 4th, and we actually did a field trip to the Isabel and Orrin Johnson house on Forest Avenue. That, if you remember, that is the home that I mentioned is going up on the review board at the Wisconsin Historical Society to become a historical landmark. So as part of our support, we took a tour of that. Very interesting. And just one side note too, if you look at the library handout that Alderman Erickson put out, there's an event on the 15th around Isabella Johnson Lady Smith, she's called, so to kind of talk about her history. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Are there any petitions to be presented?
No petitions.
Are there any council directives? Alderman Steiner.
I don't know if this is the right slot for it. Maybe it belongs more in new business. But I'm wondering, has Neenah ever looked into reaching out internationally for a sister city? I go around to different communities in the state, and I see these kind of collaborations and sort of cross-cultural exchanges. And I'm just wondering if that might be something nice, especially when you look kind of increased tensions around the world. Could there just be a little bit of a reaching out to other cities who might want to connect with Neenah?
Thank you for that suggestion. I don't believe that we have any
Okay.
in place at this time.
Okay. Is that, I'm wondering if there's anyone I'd be happy to partner with and research what steps if the council has interest in doing something like that.
There's some discussion down at this end.
We're scratching our brain to think if we
might have been a sister city at one point, but
we would have to look. I don't.
we can,
That might have
we
been
can
through
look
the
into
brigade.
it.
Okay, I'll do the same. I'll do some research as well.
Menasha, but I don't think that was right.
Okay. Very good.
Fire department.
They are our sister city. That's long-standing. Is there any unfinished business? Next item is new business. Ratification of the mayoral proclamation declaring a snow emergency pursuant to Neenah Code 16-69E4 and Wisconsin Statute 323.14 4B, beginning at 6 p.m. on Friday, January 12th, 2024, and continuing until noon on Sunday, January 14th, 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion by Alderman Stevenson, seconded by Council President Borchert. Is there any discussion on this? Alderman Skirms.
Help me understand. Why is this done?
The mayor has the authority to
Yeah.
proclaim a snow emergency, but then it's required to be ratified by the council.
After the fact?
Yes.
All right, I'm in favor of that. Thank you.
There's a motion and a second for ratification of that proclamation declaring a snow emergency. Any further questions? If not, please cast your vote on your voting device.
That's a new one.
That motion passes 9-0. Are there any announcements that may legally come before the council? Alderman Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks to the great work our Public Works Department did with the snow, we were able to have the Winter Festival on Saturday morning. We considered canceling, and then we go, well, how can you cancel a Winter Festival because of too much snow? So we weren't sure how many people were going to show up, and over 200 people showed up for the hot dogs and a lot of sledding and snowboarding and s'mores, and had a great time. So it was a great success and well done by our Parks and Recreation Department.
Thank you so much for volunteering at that event, Alderman Hillstrom. And thanks to Joy as well. Alderman Skirms.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to share, last week, Neenah PD held their awards banquet, and the chief listed an email we sent around of all the people that were recognized. I just want to state that an example of what an outstanding department we have. I had the chance to go and learned of numerous examples of valor, excellence, life-saving. I mean, we have a outstanding department, and it was pretty cool to see the families, and it was a good thing. So if you haven't read the note from Chief, read through it, because they did some pretty neat stuff in the last year. That's it. Thank you.
Actually, last 2 years.
Thank you, Alderman Skirms. I completely concur. It was a fantastic, really pride-inspiring event. So I was amazed. Are there any other announcements that may legally come before the council? Seeing none, is there a motion to move into closed session?
So moved. So moved.
There's a motion by, well, who?
I won.
There's a motion by Alderman Skirms, apparently seconded by Council President Borchert. I'm sorry, Alderman Stevenson. Not fast enough on the button, I guess. So we will move into closed session. We'll take a very short break.
The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.